can save ya, cause this is the season of funky behavior. I came to relax your mind, you can recline. On what? On this here rhyme. I like the style, I'm staying for a while. It helps me show cats that I'm versatile. I'll touch your dial, turn your frown to a smile. I'll make you feel like you're having a child. So relax and open up, child. I'm about to make you walk what? Pimp style or pimped out style. You don't understand the logic. See, if you don't have it all, I'll take a deposit. I got shit for you, it's alright indeed. It's like going to the garden and planting the seed. It might tickle for a second, but it won't bleed. So just relax, just hear a dope ride. The vibes is real nice, everything is real fat. You don't have to do work, we do that. It's the type of place where you can wear your hat. Just relax and just hear a dope ride. The vibes is real nice, everything is real fat. You don't have to do work, we do that. It's the type of place where you can wear your hat. Your entertainment at the same time, edutainment. In other words, you could call it bent. What I'm saying is that I'm here at your service. It's hard work, but then again, I deserve this. I'm helping people enjoy their spare time. I'm like an instructor when I'm doing my rhyme. Relax and just hit the dope track. It's really not all that, it's not like a gag. We like that when everything is relaxed and chill. You don't have to get fucked up or take pills, cause I like being myself, it feels good. Yo, it makes my meals taste good. 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 So just relax. It's your dope ride. The vibes is real nice, everything is real fat. You don't have to do work, we do that. It's the type of place where you can wear your hat. Just relax and hear a dope ride. The vibes is real nice, everything is real fat. You don't have to do work, we do that. It's the type of place where you can wear your hat. Just relax. My mind state, now balloon, it won't inflate. Just take the buzz, this much wiser kid, fuck the shade. And take it to a lower level, and dig a ditch for a devil. Got some more kids and pass the shovel. Dig a hole, take them on a spiritual roll. Lyrics unfold, either that or unroll the scroll. Episodes keep reoccurring and stifling. People's vision get blurring, their hearts start murmuring. I'm about 5 times iller than a Sherman. Introspection is God's gift to the miracle. I freak material, lamb's milk without the cereal. When MCs say your booty, they mean venereal. Your fake material hip-hop pillars, they more faking than fucking Michael Jackson and Thriller. The status of a hoe, Quanto Costa. They wanna know how much it costs, kid, I bet for keep to me just relax and just hear a dope ride. The vibes is real nice, everything is real fat. You don't have to do work, we do that. It's the type of place where you can wear your hat. Just relax and just hear a dope ride. The vibes is real nice, everything is real fat. You don't have to do work, we do that. It's the type of place where you can wear your hat. Just relax.
Two. Yes, I'm back at it again, y'all. It is Thursday, the 18th December, 8:40 morning time, Central European time, and that would make it 2:40 Eastern Standard Time, USA. And I guess that would make it 12:40 Eastern, 12:40 Pacific time, right? Let me know. Let me know what time it is in your neck of the woods and where you listening in from. Yeah, but we back. And as you know, my God, I mean, here I am. I'm back at it again, V Media. And the reason why I do this is because I'm one of the folks that is an American citizen, born and raised, born in Washington, D.C. Family on both sides goes back to the colonial period of the United States, right? Of the Americas. And, before that United States thing happened. And but I live overseas as a grown ass man. I often have to remind myself to say that so that people get the context and can kind of understand the importance of us bridging that gap, because as an American citizen, we can no longer rely on legacy media to tell us what the rest of the world is really like. I mean, sadly enough, that would be your worst mistake. And especially when you're dealing with people, how can I say this, that you've been working with for a long time. People that you have had excellent, the most historic relations with as a nation in the history of the country, right? You might want to know a little bit about that. Oh, it's 11:40 in Las Vegas. There you go. It's 11:40 in that's Pacific time, right? So yeah, so it's actually a little earlier than I thought, 1 hour earlier. And it would be good if we can kind of bridge those gaps. Actually, the last couple of days, it's been a few people coming out from over on this side of the water in the chat and explaining some things about healthcare and some misnomers. Now, tomorrow, when I'm live, I'm going to break down these misnomers. There's a lot that you hear repeated. Do not accept the troll questions, and do not accept the dumbing down. One of the comments somebody left on the page on one of the posts or one of the shorts is that Norway, for example, because there were some Norwegians in the chat lately, and I also made a short about from an American that lives in Norway, right? And the American that was living in the U.S., we don't know, maybe it's a troll, right? The troll said, yeah, well, if Norway had to defend itself, it wouldn't be able to afford its social system, right? No. Look, this is destructive behavior. This is destructive behavior. Understand something. In the relationship between the United States and Europe, you might hear Trump talk about trade deficits, but let me tell you what he doesn't include. He doesn't include all those weapons Europe used to buy that outnumber all those trade deficits. You see what I mean? All those American weapons that only the United States people can give them the right to buy under specific conditions, and those far outweigh those trade deficits. So let me break it down for the people that don't know. We might be buying Mercedes from Germany, or we might be buying, things like that. Some products that we think are exotic, that we might like, luxury things. We might buy trinkets, luxury trinkets, and basically luxury trinkets. We might buy luxury trinkets from Europe, but they're buying top of the line shit that's not trinkets. Shit that is not trinket. What are you talking about? No, they buying tanks. Okay, do you know how much one goddamn United States of America tank, airplane, fighter jet, all of that shit costs? You see what I mean? And they're really playing with your mind when they say these things. Listen. Again, let me state the numbers. This has the United States of America having health care. See, this is where the slick part comes in. The United States of America having health care and having free education has nothing to do with you not having the money to do it. It has everything to do with it's not a value. You don't value it in the United States of America. That's the difference. It has nothing to do with can you provide it and still be safe. And it's the same thing with the EU. Those things are value issues. It has nothing to do with the money. Let me tell you why. Because most Americans don't even touch the money that these billionaires are making in the name of the United States GDP. You know why you don't touch it? Because the first thing they do, they don't circulate it. They don't let that money circulate around the population. Number one. Number two, they hide that money outside of the U.S. When they make their money, they hide their profits. They get you to use your military to get them. That's right. Elon Musk does. And the rest of those billionaires in the United States, they go out there, get the military, just like they're doing in Venezuela. They go fight for them, steal some shit. And then the American people won't get none of it. It will go to the billionaires. That's what they're doing. And sure, you could have health care and education while they do that, but it's a values thing. They don't want you to have it. In the EU, people are still having it, and I'm going to tell you why. Because it keeps the money in the country. The money's still circulating. That same money is still circulating. Don't you want your money to circulate in your country to create jobs, to boost up your GDP? Isn't that what you want? to have it circulate. When it's circulating around to everybody, that's called commerce. You see what I'm saying? That's called commerce. Okay. And the U.S., whatever their belief is about why they can't come up with, health care and education, higher education for everyone, regardless of how much money you have in your pocket. That's just a values thing. That's what they choose to do. It's not what they can do. And you could see that exhibited every day in Congress. They on the floor fight right now. They can't even figure out, Republicans are about to turn against Mike Johnson, but they're not strong enough to do it yet. Not all the way. Look, the Democrats right now, the Democrats are fighting for MAGA homes to keep their health care. And guess who's not really helping them? Republicans. I mean, they have to do the same thing with the Epstein files, get 218. They needed 4 Republicans to join all of the Democrats to get the Epstein files. Now they needed 4 Republicans to join the Democrats to have a vote on the floor to keep your tax deductions for your health care so your health care could stay affordable. What is this? What is this? This is your tax dollars too, by the way. The tax dollars you pay already in advance out of your check. Do you think when they cut your health care, your tax credits for your health care, that they're going to give you a reduction in the taxes they want from you? Hell no. They're going to keep on collecting the tax money they've been collecting and give you less services. That's what this is about. And you have to slap yourself, kick yourself in the ass. You should be embarrassed at yourself as a human being if you go along with that. You are dumb. It's just that simple. Nobody want to hurt you. Nobody want to kill you. Nobody want a civil war. You are just dumb. Nobody can. You embarrassing yourself on the world stage. On the world stage. That's what this is about. But in any case, that's why I'm here to explain to you. And explain to you why the EU has it. Look, in the 1970s, right, 1960s, they fought that civil rights battle that was going on in the U.S. Guess who else was having a civil rights battle? The EU was. The population was there fighting with you. Did you know that? Against the same ideals that you were struggling for in the U.S. Did you know that? MAGA might talk about anti-war, bring the troops home, but in the 60s, they was talking about anti-war. Malcolm X was talking about anti-war. Okay. Muhammad Ali was talking about anti-war. He went to jail being anti-war. What the fuck did you do? He gave up his millions of dollars being anti-war. Maggots, what the fuck have you done being anti-war? Nothing but hypocrites over it. Okay. But while that was happening in the U.S., no more Vietnam. Right? Because soldiers were dying and we were we were killing people. It just got so bad. What do they want to do today? They want to go to Venezuela. Okay. Well, look, while that was happening in the 60s in the U.S., the EU was having the same battle. Same thing. Anti-war. You think there weren't any EU troops anywhere around the world? Any European nations anywhere around the world? But when the people here fought for their civil rights, they didn't just stop it. The issue wasn't simply it wasn't racial discrimination. Now, it was something about women's rights now. You know what I mean? Like there was something there, but it was about families' rights. It was about fairness in the tax system. It was about health care. It was about education. And in the 60s, that got changed. So there's a few generations now of Europeans that have grown up with this as being the norm. You see what I'm saying? And it's worth knowing. It's worth knowing that history so you can have information to draw from, not information to first judge. Because if you don't review the information, why are you even judging? If you've never heard someone tell you this before, sit back, let me tell you, and soak it up and absorb it. Let it sit for a while before you try to debate it, because there's enough there to review first, right? Before you get a full understanding of what I'm saying, right? But having said that, all of this is tax dollars. U.S. military, American tax dollars. paid for 100% by the American taxpayer. These military people work for you, and their one job is to do what you tell them to do as the American people. That's their one job. They don't work for nobody else. They do not work for anyone else. Okay. And when the American people believe that they are acting up, it is your job to vote for some representatives that will stop these people from acting up. That's your job. Whether the Supreme Court is acting up, it's your job, the American people, to vote in some representatives that fix that impeach some Supreme Court justices. When you get a president, it's the American people's job. The president only works for the American people. He doesn't work for anyone else. So fuck what else he says. He is to do specifically and only what the American people tell him to do, because he is paid by your sweat and tears, your tax dollars. Okay, so don't ever get the roles twisted, right? Friars, what's up? Don't ever get the roles twisted on that, because if you get that twisted, oh man, you're just an embarrassment to what living in a democratic society is all about. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you get that twisted, damn, why are you even trying to live in a democracy? You may as well just go live in an authoritarian nation. Go live in live your ass somewhere else where the leader lasts for 30 years. Live your ass somewhere else where the only person you see that's going to be the leader of the country, you're going to see that one person your entire goddamn life. Go move there. But the rest of the people that like democracy ain't with that. Okay. And and basically we not finna to let go of that shit anytime soon. Okay, so having said that, let's review. Oh, somebody said, yeah, who is this? David said BB got more. No, BB doesn't have more to say than us, you know. And you got to stop selling that frame, that Mission Impossible, that frame. You know, Israel's just a little ass country that gets a lot of help, just like a lot of ass fucking countries get. Okay, to get weapons from the U.S. Okay, Israel has never had a U.S. government that said maybe we won't give you weapons. Okay, and that's what's going on. And when the American people vote, which, by the way, if 1/3 of the eligible voters in 2024 did not vote. So hell no, BB doesn't have more to say than us. We sat the fuck down and let BB have more to say. That's what we did. That's what we did as American citizens. We shut it the fuck up instead of bring our ass out and vote and do our civic responsibility. See, just because BB is on his job doing whatever the fuck he wants to do, although I don't agree with all that shit at all. By no means do I agree with that, you know, at all, period. Don't even connect me to it, right? But he just seems to show up and American voters don't. Hey, and you get what you get when you just don't show up. Now, you can't be making some scheme about how powerful AIPAC is when you don't show up to vote. See, if you showed up to vote, you might be able to make that argument, but you don't. You don't. You show up to vote less than any other Western democracy, period. That's what American citizens have been doing, and that's why American citizens are in this situation, and you got nobody else to complain to but your motherfucking selves for not doing your civic responsibility. You need to start taking it serious and stop spooking up people. BB, he may not do what you like him to do, but he is not fucking all powerful at all. You gave him that power by encouraging people to not fucking vote. That's even dumber than BB. You see what I'm saying? That's even dumber. At least he's busy. You know, not saying don't connect me to what he's doing though, because I don't agree. And there's a lot I don't agree with, but at least he's fucking waking up busy, doing what he got to do. What the fuck? If you don't vote, hey man, if you don't vote, anybody can be a god over you. If you don't do your civic responsibility, shit. What the hell? You know what I'm saying? And you about to see it. You about to see it because right now you got Trump. That's your God right now. And how did we get Trump? By people not coming out and doing their civic responsibility, basically. The same amount of people that voted for Trump didn't vote at all. You see what I'm saying? And now I'm pretty sure a lot of those people is about to vote because they like, God damn, why? And it's okay to learn a lesson. You know, it's okay to learn a lesson about why you need to vote. And don't lie to yourself. It's some of my listeners didn't fucking vote. I'm gonna tell you that right now because I've talked to some people. I've been talking to people over the net for a year, and I've heard them say out of their mouth, "This is what it means when you don't vote. This is code word for I ain't voting. Both parties the same. Democrats and the Republicans the same. That means you ain't voting." Basically, okay, because I never say no shit like that. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck? I voted for Kamala Harris, and no, she is fucking nowhere near close the same as Trump. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, goddamn, I voted from all the way overseas and shit. Do you understand what I had to do? It wasn't that hard, but it wasn't. You know, it required a little effort. It required the same amount of time as some people going out there and standing in line and getting voting. I had to go run back and forth and do a couple of things, you know what I'm saying? But bring your ass out and vote, and that will solve a lot of this stuff. Because if you don't participate, you may regret it. Someone's trying to take your democracy from you and turn it into a kingdom. So you better vote. This might be the last chance you have to vote. You see what I mean? You know, and voting has nothing to do with, I'm only going to come out and vote when things are perfect. Oh, hell no. You need to come out and vote when things are fucked up too. Just like you vote any other time. Like, if in fact, even more. You know what I'm saying? But in any case, this is what people got in the end. Let me bring this up. I mean, for the tax dollars. I mean, we're just going to talk about what people get with their tax dollars right now. And it's not looking really good because they can't figure out if you need health care at all. But they can figure out some other things, which is really, really, hold on, let me see. Am I getting this right? Which is really, really scary. I mean, they claim that they claim that they, is this pulling up? Here it is. Did it come up here? Okay, well, let me try it here. Okay, here we go. Y'all see that, right? Now, yeah. Now, this is the government. This is the government that people are looking at. And you're paying. Don't get it twisted. Every time an American citizen gets arrested by ICE, that American citizen has paid for that service. That's a service. Okay? That's how some American citizens are being treated, by paying taxes. You know, paying taxes, go to job, work 8 hours a week, work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, get your check. You know, the tax man comes and takes out some federal dollars, federal payroll taxes, or whatever federal taxes they are. Then the other tax man takes out the state taxes, and those federal taxes that they take out from your salary go to pay people like ICE. Go to pay this buffoon up on the screen. Go to pay the military. Go to pay all of that shit, the government, right? And what the government does is say, well, now that you've paid these taxes, let me come knock you upside the fucking head. Bow. Let me lock your ass up. You say you're a U.S. citizen? Fuck it. I don't believe you. Let me throw you in the wagon with the rest of them. That's a service. That's a service, and and that's the service that you pay for. You literally, that's crazy, of course. Because, I mean, my life hasn't been like that. Like, yo, my taxes go to healthcare. I don't know what the fuck. My taxes literally go to my kids going to school, higher learning and everything, and healthcare. I mean, goddamn, how could I ever not respect that? You see what I mean? In Denmark, you know what I'm saying? In Norway, in Sweden, our tax dollars go to shit like that. In the U.S., They like, man, stop begging us. They beg you for your tax dollars. They come and knock you over the head if you don't pay those tax dollars. And then they call you a beggar if you think your tax dollars should do some shit to enhance your motherfucking life. That's weird. That is a different type of, is that even democracy? Is that even democracy? But in any case, it also pays for this kind of stuff. I mean, there's a lot that's going on. So let's just get to it.
I yield back. I now recognize the ranking member for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Gladstein, will you tell me the organizations that pose on the domestic side, two of the organizations, number one, number two, threat to the homeland at this point?
Can you please clarify, like, organizations?
Look, what is this? This is your tax dollars at work. He don't even know what the fuck the question was. I mean, this is, there's some bullshit. He doesn't know. The question is very clear. The question is very, very clear, and he doesn't even know the answer. Look, but check what comes out of his mouth.
Thank you very much. I yield back. I now recognize the ranking member for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Do me a favor. Everybody, click the like button. Those of you that's just listening, sitting back now in the chat, take a second to click the like button also on your machines or your mobile phones, whatever your devices are. Thank you.
Mr. Gladstein, will you tell me the organizations that pose on the domestic side, two of the organizations, number one, number two, threat to the homeland at this point?
Can you please clarify, like, organizations?
Any domestic terrorist organization that poses a threat to the homeland as we speak?
I'd say the first one, President Trump had just announced executive order domestic terrorist organization, Antifa. That's our primary concern right now.
Antifa is the primary domestic. Okay, wow, that's deep. That is really, really deep. Antifa, anti-fascist. This is incredible. But the mere fact that he had to ask that question twice shows you that this guy feels like a damn fool saying it, because it's definitely not true. You see what I mean? It's like there's no data to support that. And if they have data, that data needs to be submitted to Congress, right? And it actually, Congress is the one that's supposed to be producing the data, collecting the data anyway and presenting it. It's like where is the data that says that? I mean, the numbers, they don't have no numbers. Now watch, when he asks them to qualify it, he can't even qualify what Antifa is, where they are, anything. No numbers, nothing.
All right, that's what President Trump did. What does the FBI say?
We share the same view. When you look at the data right now, you look at the domestic terrorist threat that we're facing. Right now, what I see from my position is that's the most immediate violent threat that we're facing on the domestic side.
He said when you look at the data, right? But he has no data to tell you.
So where is the Antifa headquarters?
That's data. Where's the Antifa headquarters?
What we're doing right now with the organization.
Where in the United States does Antifa exist? If it's a terrorist organization.
That's like saying, where does democracy exist? What the fuck? Where does democracy exist? Where does democracy exist? Where do human rights exist? I don't know. What the fuck?
And you've identified it as number one.
We are building out the infrastructure right now.
Look, we're building up the infrastructure right now. So whatever happened to the fucking data? What data is he looking at? How does he even know? You see what I mean? He just undermined what he's actually said. How does he know that they're a threat when he can't even tell you what? He can't recite the threats. He can't recite it. He can't recite how many there are, where they're located. Nothing.
So what does that mean? We trying to get the information. You say Antifa is a terrorist organization. Tell us as a committee, how did you come to that? Where do they exist? How many members do they have in the United States as of right now?
Well, that's very fluid. It's ongoing for us to understand that. The same, no different than.
It's very fluid. It's very fluid. So even though it's fluid, you don't have no data? Fluid is not a number. The number can always change. The location can always change. But what location have you had so far? What number did you get to start with where your concern became an issue? Is it 4 people? Is it 4 people? Is that where it became a concern? Look, somebody in the chat said that they arrested 4 people with pipe bombs. Yeah, we know because they arrested a Jan 6 person with a pipe bomb too. They arrested Jan 6 people. They arrested, prosecuted, all of that. We know there's domestic terrorists. But the question is not that. The question is how many? If they're quoting Antifa, how many? We could tell you. You could go online and get government information and data about how many right wing or extremists there are from different organizations. Maybe you won't get all the data, but they can give you some estimations based on actual data. Now, why can't he do that? If this is the number one threat, why can't you do that? See, that's the thing. You can't claim something is a number one threat when you don't even got nothing to say about the number one threat. Like, that makes no sense. Exactly. They're just making this shit up. It's like, okay. Anyway.
No, I don't want you. I'll ask one question, sir. I just want you to tell us. If you said Antifa is the number one domestic terrorist organization operating in the United States.
Oh, wait, Born, you said, where do you send in donations? I don't know what you're talking about. Is that a question you talking about for Antifa? Yeah, where do you send Antifa donations? Everybody, let's donate to Antifa. Yay.
I just need to know where they are, how many people. I don't want a name. I don't want anything like that. Just
for the record, if anybody want to send a cash up, you could send it in. You know what I'm saying? Also I got a couple of ways you could send in some things if you want. You know what I'm saying? If you're serious, but I'll let you know. I'll put something up in the chat for you. I appreciate that though for asking.
How many people have you identified with the FBI that Antifa is made of?
Well, the investigations are active.
So you wouldn't come to this committee and say something you can't prove, I know.
Oh, yes, he would.
I know you wouldn't do that. But
he got no data. Look at this smile. Look at the smile. I'm almost like, sometimes I think these people really want you to know that they full of shit. Like, I think it's just like he knows he's full of shit what he's saying. He's only saying it because Trump is telling him you have to say this or you don't have the job. It's like, basically all of Trump's appointees are like that. It's like they have to say stuff to get the job. They don't have to back up any of it. Remember, they had to say the Epstein files before they got the job. They had to say all the conspiracy theory shit before they got the job. And then when they got the job, they flipped the whole script. Remember that? It's the same thing with this. Look, he's talking about going into Venezuela. Is it regime change or not? He would tell you, no, it's not. It's about stopping fentanyl. No, then it's about, the cocaine and, they're part of narco terrorists. And then finally, after his own cabinet member came out on his ass, which we're going to review, and started saying it's about regime change. Now you hear him saying it's our oil. We want it back. They kicked us out. Yeah, now he's comfortable saying it. They just keep moving the bar, but they always start off with a complete, utter lie.
FBI that Antifa is made of.
Well, the investigations are active.
So you wouldn't come to this committee and say something
Look at his
you
face.
can't prove, I know. I know you wouldn't do that.
Look at what is this? He just smiled at him. Oh, yes, I would. I would definitely do that. Look at this one more time. This is not, and I have to give him credit because he's not even trying to lie to your ass. I mean, he's like, yeah, I fucking would.
The investigations are active.
So you wouldn't come to this committee and say something you can't prove, I know. I know you wouldn't do that. But you did. Madam Secretary, you
Sure
and,
enough.
and the gentleman from NCTC reference the unfortunate accident that occurred with the National Guardsman being killed.
You think that was an unfortunate accident?
I mean,
It was a terrorist attack.
wait. Look, I'll get it straight. Then you can
He shot our
respond.
National Guardsman in the head.
Look, Mr. Chairman, will you direct the witness to allow me to ask my question? It was an unfortunate situation, but you blamed it solely on Joe Biden. I want you to know who approved the asylum application for this same person.
Mr. Thompson, this individual that came into the country.
No, I want to know who approved.
Congressman Thompson, I want
No,
you to
no,
understand.
no.
When this individual came
No,
into the
I'm not-
country,
I'm
he
not
came
gonna let you-
under
I'm not gonna let
an
you-
evacuation of Afghanistan under Operation Allies Welcome, was thoroughly vetted by the Biden administration at that point in time, allowed into our country, and then was never followed up. I want to remind
Reclaim
everybody
my
in
time.
Congress.
Reclaim my time.
We follow the law, and every asylum is supposed to have a check-in every single year, and the Biden administration failed to do that. They vetted this individual, allowed them into our country, and did not do due
The
diligence.
witness will allow the gentleman to ask his question.
Yes or no? Who approved the asylum claim?
The application on the asylum was thoroughly filled out by information that was gathered by the Biden administration.
So the
His
Biden
asylum-
administration approved the asylum.
His asylum application was put into place under the rules established by the Biden administration.
Reclaiming my time. I don't want to file perjury charges against you, but I'm of the opinion.
Hey, my PayPal is in the chat right now for anybody that wants to use PayPal for a donation. Yeah, I appreciated that question, by the way. I mean,
That,
look
Trump
at it.
administration-
Look at this nonsense. I mean, but this is your tax dollars. This is mediocre. This is mediocre. This is mediocre. This is the United States American citizen tax dollars working for them. Complete, utter incompetence. Complete, utter incompetence. No attempt to even seem honest or serious. No attempt to seem like you're accountable to the American people. And see, that's the scary part. They're not even pretending like they're accountable to the American people. It's not even they're not even concerned about what you think. They're not concerned about any response, any legal stuff, nothing, not concerned about it at all. I mean, imagine if you went to work like that. Would your boss let you show up to work like that? I'm coming to work, but I'm just sitting on my ass and I just do whatever the hell I fucking want to do. And if you don't like it, fuck you, boss. Give me my check, motherfucker, right now. You know what I'm saying? This my house. This my shop. Imagine if you went to work like that. Who goes, put a 1 in the chat if you go to work like that. Put a 1 in the chat if you go to work like that. I want to see who goes to work like that, because I don't. I would be fired. I think that was just insane. That would only get you fired. That's the. But these people, they doing it. They doing it right, just openly. I don't give a fuck what you think. I don't give a fuck what the Constitution says. You know what I'm saying? Do you know this guy? They talking about killing domestic. Look, they're going to ask him later. He's talking about killing. They ask him later in this meeting about a hit list, a private hit list, assassination list, a list of domestic terrorists that they want to take out. And they asked the guy, would you follow that order? And he was like, well, I'd have to review the order and have to. It's like, review the order? Man, you can't do that. You can't kill people without damn due process. What the fuck? You can't be the judge and jury. They're literally talking about that right now. That is crazy. They're literally, and it's them. So imagine a person that gets killed and you lived in and you pay taxes. You pay taxes for them to fucking snatch your due process away and kill you. And they're just conversating about it in these congressional hearings. Like they don't know that's patented illegal. They don't know that's patented illegal. I mean, come on. How is it that you can have people that are appointed to positions and they can't even tell you that that's illegal? What do you mean? That's always illegal. That's the norm. That goes against the norm that person themselves grew up in. The United States of America that person grew up in, that goes against that norm. And all of a sudden they're trying to argue, like shit that is like outrageous, arguing it like, well, we don't know if it's illegal. We got to go to the Supreme Court. Oh, wow. Okay. Everything's got to go to the Supreme Court because they don't know what the norms have been in the country. I mean, it's the most disingenuous argumentation that they're making. And but people pay for it. People paying for it.
Your DHS approved the asylum application.
The asylum application moved forward.
Somebody, who was that who said, Bruce, tell the CIA you can't. Well, have you got somebody in your family that's been killed by the CIA in your lifetime, Bruce? I mean, who's been killed by the CIA inside of the U.S. in your lifetime, Bruce? I'm curious about that. Who's been killed by the CIA in the United States of America in your lifetime, Bruce? I mean, I'm not saying they haven't, but you're the one bringing it up. You should be able to recite it since you're saying it here. You're making it seem like that. Okay. Yeah, I didn't see nothing yet. Okay.
Under all of the information and vetting processes that were put in place.
Prove you right, Bruce. Prove yourself right first. You don't even know. Why would you say something you don't even know in the first place? I'm asking you. I'm being a great podcaster right now because I'm looking in the chat. I noticed your statement. I'm asking you about it. And when you have your second to prove it, you're not doing it. So it just, Kennedy, right? Kennedy ring a bell. Okay, so the CIA killed Kennedy. The CIA killed Kennedy. Who else? So that's it. It's just Kennedy. Okay, I thought the FBI. Listen, you could claim that. Look, let's claim Malcolm X. Let's claim Martin Luther King. Let's claim Kennedy. Let's wrap all that up as U.S. government. You don't have to say CIA. You can just say the U.S. government. But here's the thing. Is that a norm in your lifetime? Yes or no? That's my point. You see what I mean? You could also say, hey, slavery existed. Whoop-de-doo. Slavery existed. Yeah. It was a time in the United States when women couldn't vote. Is that normal? Is that normal also? You see what I mean? So we gotta, and so yeah, where the Doge checks at? Yeah, exactly. Anyway, now this was just an example of this foolishness, that's going on, because this is not the only foolishness that the United States taxpayers pay for. Now, keep in mind, Kristi Noem, she had to go along with a whole lot of crazy theories, and they're still going on along with it. These people are looking now. They pardoned people that bum rushed the Capitol building. Right. They pardoned people that bum rushed the Capitol building. A lot of those people were murderers, rapists, pedophiles, felons, drug dealers, all types of shit, burglars. They got a whole assorted criminal type of people that came down there to kill Mike Pence. Right. And Nancy Pelosi and others. Right. Exactly. They had all these congressional members in the chambers, like ducking behind fucking seats, like Republicans and Democrats, like scared for their lives. I'm going to tell you something. You make me scared for my life like that, and you're going to have to pay. But in this case, Trump said, nah, you could make these people scared of their lives, for their lives. You can make them run and seek refuge and hide. That's okay. I'm going to bail you out. That's what Trump said. Now, the same people that bailed them out, they're now trying to tell you they're looking for a terrorist. They're looking for domestic terrorists, and they're looking for Antifa. Okay, wow. Maybe. And then these are the same people that told you it was actually Antifa that stormed January 6th. You see what I mean? Like, this is nothing but, I'm sorry, but this is make believe. Every argument they make is make believe. And that was almost a prerequisite to any of them getting a job. Kash Patel had to talk a lot of shit in his podcast, come up with these conspiracies to get a job. Kristi Noem, same thing. All this is the kooky hour. You know what I mean? This is the Addams Family. This is the kooky fight. I don't know how many of y'all saw my short, the Addams Family short with all these kookies. This is the kooky hour, and they're asking everyone to sit down and go through their little version of craziness, right? While you pay them a salary for taking you through fantasy land. No one else in the Western world would stand for this shit. People don't got money to waste. United States, this proves United States taxpayers either have money to waste or they put up with a whole lot of bullshit on the regular. And some will even like convince themselves that they're doing well while they putting up with a whole lot of bullshit on the regular. Like there's people that actually think they doing better than Norway. Some Americans, let me tell you, man, it's very simple. The average Norwegian's quality of life is higher than the average American citizen. It goes across the board. You know what I'm saying? And there's some Americans, I don't know what's going on, man. People are sitting back saying, what the fuck is going on in the U.S.? There's people that obviously cannot afford health care going up that are acting like they're okay with it. There's people that obviously can, and what I mean is broke, poor, in relative terms, Western standards, poor, that are actually acting like they're okay with Trump, like they doing fine with Trump. Like, yo, I don't know what's wrong with you, but you are about to be kicked out on the street because of Trump. And, you know, if you really are that brainwashed to where you still have to say Trump, then I guess, you know, hey, you can't save everybody. You can't save everybody, you know. But I put it to you like this. If you disagree with my comments, tell me right now what state you live in and who your health provider is. If you disagree with my comments, tell me what state you live in the United States of America and who your health provider is, so we can really know what type of person we dealing with. I'm just talking about the people that disagree with me. You know, if you think, you know, I just want to see if you talking facts, if you really dealing with facts, because, you know, we're going to illustrate that people are goddamn crazy. These people have lost their goddamn minds, and you have to be crazy to get the job. Look, this is what you have to do to get the job.
You haven't listened.
Check this out. These people are all falling apart now. I don't know how they survived so long, but they're all falling out. But some sooner than later. But look, they work with a lunatic, right? They work with a goddamn lunatic in the first place. I mean, they work with Trump. Trump was Epstein's best friend for how many years? He didn't know he was raping little girls. How do you not know your friend is a fucking pedophile? You know, how do you not know that? You either knew it and you are one too, and you didn't give a fuck. I mean, that's not an accident. That's like, I mean, just think about this logic. Think about this. Oh, I got to make it smaller. Is that too big? Hold on. Let me see here. Just think about this. All right. Check this out. Trump, he's bombing. They will bomb some Venezuelan fishing boats. They won't provide any information about who these people are. By the way, one person is surviving. They taking Trump and them to court. They taking the U.S. government to court. Now, this shit is going to go all the way. And do you know what that one person can do? That one person can get Pete Hegseth going to the fucking Hague. Yes, and other people, because this person is alive. They're going to be on the floor of the fucking Hague giving testimony. That shit is going to be broadcasted all around the world. People are fed up. People are fed up. Every government on earth is going to make sure that survivor gets their day in court. And check this out. So what if Trump doesn't have to provide any information, right? They don't have to provide none of it. Well, what if you didn't do anything and you just happen to be the person next to them just by chance? Would that be fair? You know, the fact that they blow you up too, would that be fair? You see what I mean? Like, these are the kind of things they're arguing for. But in any case, In any case, to be in their administration, you had to have believed in some conspiracy theories that you now totally flipped on their head now that you had the job. Look, check this out. Here we go.
Massive cover up because the person who planted those pipe bombs, they don't want you to know who it was because it's either a connected anti-Trump insider or this was an inside job.
Now, you kind
Those
of
bombs were planted there. This was a setup. I have zero doubt.
He's talking about the Jan 6 bomber, pipe bomber. You see what I mean? And this was his theory. That was his theory before he got the job in the FBI. Matter of fact, he's stepping down now, his phony ass, because he basically admitted that he's willing to lie for money to the American people. Like, he made it all up. He was like, fuck it, I got a check. They were willing to give me a check, and this is what they do. This is how you get morons out there in the front. These billionaires support mediocre morons that just say any old type of crazy shit to distract people. They promote them. They get all of their audience or get people to back them up. They get them out there just like Charlie Kirk, because he's an idiot too. They get out there and to be this kind of like political buffer, but it's all based on lies and basically trying to flame, left to right partisan politics in the U.S. Basically trying to create a civil war in the U.S., essentially, But listen to this. So this guy, this is before he became the FBI director. This was his view, right? Same thing with MAGA. They were all about the Epstein files. And as soon as Trump got elected and Trump said, no, I'm not interested in that, then they all changed their mind. They don't want nothing to do with the Epstein files anymore. The Democrats had to force a vote. Just like this health care, they have to force a vote. They got to get, do you mean they had to get 218 people because MAGA Mike Johnson, just like he didn't want to vote on the Epstein files, doesn't want to vote on the health care? And think about this. These Democrats, they're actually saving MAGA people's lives too. Can you believe that? All those broke ass MAGA people that are going to get kicked out of their homes because a lot of them are broke and poor, the working poor or not even working poor. Democrats are actually helping them, fighting for them too. Can you believe that? The Republicans are not even fighting for those people. That's crazy. Like, the Republicans believe that these people, they don't deserve affordable health care. That's across the board. That is insane. And again, they're not telling you that they're going to give you a tax break. No, they're just going to take away your health care and then leave you all these people with nothing and still demand that these people pay the same amount of taxes. That's crazy. That is crazy. But this is what they're doing. They're okay with doing that. I mean, it's just a crazy world.
There is a massive cover up because the person.
So is there still a massive cover up with the pipe bomb guy? The pipe bomb guy turned out to be what? A supporter of Trump. Before they caught the guy, they were saying the Democrats, they don't want you to know who it is because it's a Antifa leftist. So the Democrats, it's an inside plot. This is what he was saying. He's saying the Democrats plotted to keep the leftist pipe bomber who wanted to bomb the Democratic convention, the Democratic headquarters in DC, and the Republican headquarters. He wanted to bomb both of them. This bimbo, dumbass, stupid ass, whatever his name is, right? Bombino, right? Said that he said it was a Democrat hoax. And that's how he got the job. Look, he had no other credentials.
There is a massive cover up because the person who planted those pipe bombs, they don't want you to know who it was because it's either a connected anti-Trump insider or this was an inside job.
You see that? It was an anti-Trump insider or it was an inside job. Now, what's going on now? How did that change now? Now this dude is leaving. He's like, this is just weeks after the pipe bomber got exposed. Now everybody's running these tapes, running these clips of Dan Bambino, and that's why he's stepping down. You know that's why it is. He feel like an asshole because he is a fucking asshole. This guy's a fucking asshole. He not even trying to be serious. Not even trying to be serious. See, at least you could be serious and just say, look, man, thanks for offering me the job, but I don't know shit. I have no experience in any type of law enforcement, especially on this level. Thanks, but no thanks. Please get somebody more qualified, someone deserving of the job. But he's not even man enough to say that. He ain't even man enough to say that. He's like, I'll take the job. Democrat conspiracy. Okay, yeah. How many months was that? Now we found out what happened to that conspiracy, right? Right? He lost it. He's out of a job now. Everything he said was wrong. He proved nothing. The Epstein files. What did Kash Patel say? Oh, we releasing on day one. Head of the FBI got them files. Yeah, he could release that list on day one. As soon as he got the job, what did he do? Cancel it. Now, they still not, it's supposed to be released tomorrow. They still not even trying to release the shit. Everything these people said was wrong, was the opposite of what they said. So you know what that means, right? You know when Trump says Russia, Russia, Russia hoax, you know what that means, right? It means it was real. That's exactly what that means. It was real. Everything they say turns out to be the opposite. And it's just proven on international TV for the whole world to see. It's not even something people are confused about. Everybody outside of the United States of America knows the Russia, Russia, Russia hoax was real and not a hoax. The EU knows that better than anybody. Yep, because Trump is, what is he doing? Pumping up Putin. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Everyone knows it. Even the enemies of the United States, they're like, yay, yay. Finally, we got those stinking dogs. And he's right. They right. I mean, yeah, goddamn. You know, these maggots fell for it. They fell for it. Yeah. They listened to that algorithm, pushed them over to voting for just complete, utter fucking liars. The algorithm got their ass.
Those bombs were planted there. This was a setup. I have zero doubt.
So,
you hear that? It was a setup. I have zero doubt. Translation, Russia was a hoax. It was a setup. I have zero doubt. Yeah, okay, how'd that work out? Don't look like it's a doubt right now. I mean, Putin walks all over Trump. Trump, if there was ever an American leader that was soft, the softest on fucking Russia ever that would be Trump. Trump basically bent over backwards for Putin. Trump is taking it in the ass for Putin. That's what he's doing. Okay? Trump is Putin's bitch. Like flat out. He's his bottom bitch, his hoe. Okay? And he's doing all the work for Trump. That's what I mean. Like he's out there trying to elicit more hoes and shit for Putin and shit. And it's working. You know what I'm saying? It's working. He got a lot of hoes. And who did he elicit? MAGA. All you MAGA hoes are Putin's bitches, but you're not smart enough to at least be the bottom bitch. You know what I mean? To get a little bit of extra credit and shit, a little payoff. No, you're just a bitch for nothing.
we are now hearing that the suspect has been linked to statements, this in support of anarchist ideology. Could that further fuel the conspiracy theories out there, even though we don't have a motive yet?
It certainly could, but what I think that video does is demonstrates and confirms the unsuitability of Dan Bongino to be the deputy director of the FBI.
American tax dollars.
He's not qualified, either from his experience, professional experience, and certainly doesn't have the character. I think what this does is actually exonerates FBI agents and analysts who continue to conduct their investigation in a professional, unbiased manner, which is what the FBI does, and work through all of this.
Yeah, I voted for Kamala Harris. Is she in the Epstein files? Nope. Is she Putin's bitch? Nope. I mean, can you imagine? Putin was scared, so fucking scared, they had to come up with a plan to make sure she wouldn't be elected. I mean, can you imagine that? Like, I mean, just imagine that, being afraid of. This is crazy, but it does make sense. It does make sense that Putin would be afraid of her. It makes total sense because he's definitely not afraid of Trump. You know, he's not afraid of Trump at all. And Trump has done everything to speak highly of Putin. You know, Trump hasn't done one thing. He didn't even say nothing bad about Putin. I mean, you know, he doesn't even utter one word that's bad. He never in his life, and Trump never will. It doesn't matter what Putin does to Trump. Trump will never say one bad word ever, and he better not. He better not, because you know, Putin is going to teach him that he's his bitch. He's going to clap back. You know what I'm saying? And none of you MAGA people better say nothing bad about Putin either. You better learn your place.
Friction at the leadership level between.
I mean, Biden's not in the. Can you imagine that? Biden's not in the Epstein files. Obama's not in the Epstein files. I mean, you know, but this is okay because these you know, that was just the hoax. That was the MAGA hoax. You know, they wanted to pretend like they were about these things. It was all the pretend. Soon as they got elected, it was over with. Soon as Trump got elected, it was over with. No, you know, all that pretend shit left. All that's gone, you know. All the, you know, get out of foreign wars. Trump ain't give a fuck about that. Listen, Trump was about his billionaire friends and keeping those pictures of himself private. And you MAGA people were too stupid to just vote for something simple like healthcare and education. Like, you're just too fucking dumb to know what to vote for. You know, you got to keep it simple. You know what I'm saying? Keep it reasonable. Instead, they actually look, they didn't demand from Congress one day. There was never one MAGA protest in front of the Capitol saying release the Epstein files. Now, one day. But you know what they were doing? They were busy online speculating. Yeah, we know Hillary, she drank blood, but I don't want the files released. But Hillary, she drank baby blood on Epstein Island, but I don't want the files released though. You know, I don't want to demand the files released, but Bill Clinton, man, he on the Epstein files, but I don't want the files released. They didn't have one goddamn demonstration to release the Epstein files while Biden was in office from the Republicans. Not one Republican wanted the motherfucking files released. You see what I mean? So it was phony. They knew it from the beginning. I mean, these people know that they hang out with pedophiles. They know that. They know that. It was just a little game. But now you're about to get your health care taken. We see how that game goes.
Kesh
How you like that?
Dan Bongino, who are making the agent's job more difficult. And so if you look at Washington Field Office, which is the office that has conducted this investigation, daily they have to give up 150 agents to walk foot patrols in Washington, D.C.
Man, they just flipped this shit out. You know, it's looking bad. But this is the tax dollars. This is the people's tax dollars working for them. You know, I guess you could say that. I can't imagine why a person would pay taxes if healthcare and education ain't part of that. But, you know, hey, Americans like doing that. You know, that's what they do. They
Now I use Whisperflow. I just think out loud and it creates perfect formatted text on any app or website.
Shit, what was that? Sorry. I mean, they're used to that. That's what normal is in the U.S., you know. Normal in the U.S., and that's not right now. It's even worse than normal right now. But normal in the U.S. is at best 50% of your tax dollars goes to anything that affects your life directly. At best 50%. That's normal. Right now with Trump, that's about to be 35% under Trump. You know, soon as you leave the U.S. and go to another Western country, it jumps up to 60% of your tax dollars affect your life directly, or your community affects your you know, it has an impact on your community. 60% to places like Denmark and Norway, where it's like 75% of the tax dollars you pay, you know, go back to affect your community, your life. You see that. You see it. You see what I mean? It's actually really weird. But Americans, you know, that I really wonder, man. And I'm saying that because I'm an American, but I'm not your typical American. I live outside of the U.S., so I mean it in that kind of way. Like, as a group, we haven't gotten there to where we really use democracy to our benefit as citizens. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not, for some reason, we don't believe that everyone in the society should have a just chance, a fair chance. We don't believe that that taxes are there to provide a fair chance. My thoughts is, why would you want to pay taxes if it's not there to provide everybody a fair chance? Why would you want to? I don't get that part. If everyone doesn't have health care and education, then what the fuck is the military defending? What are you defending if you can't even get health care? What the look, you out there defending everything, but when COVID comes, it's going to wipe out a whole lot of people. When the next biological disease hits the U.S., a lot of people are going to be dead. And because Trump has hired a moron, a vaccine conspiracy theorist, right? He's going to handle the job like he handled COVID, right? And how is the military going to defend the American people from that? You see what I mean? Nothing. They ain't going to do nothing about it. A goddamn biological disease, a disease designed to kill people. What's the U.S. military going to do about that? Nothing. But you know who could do something about that? A goddamn doctor's visit. A motherfucking doctor's visit could do something about that. You see what I'm saying? A fucking doctor's visit could, and they're too fucking stupid to even want to even know if a person is sick, spreading diseases around. Like, what the fuck? They just stay at home. You just stay at home. Right. Okay. We get it. But in any case, there's more to this shit. Look at this. This shit is wild as hell, man. This shit is wild. I mean, just the last 24 hours has been insane. 48 hours. It's been insane. I mean, how do you make up for this? Look at this.
New interview with really the most powerful person in President Trump's White House beyond
Vanity Fair. Thank God, Vanity Fair. Vanity Fair did a job CNN couldn't do, Fox couldn't do, MSNBC couldn't do. I mean, the White House press corps couldn't do. Nobody in the White House press corps could do this job. It came down to Vanity Fair. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Vanity Fair. That shows you how locked up that shit is. They don't want anybody asking them any questions, because when you actually do and get them in a place where they actually just are free to answer some questions, this is what you get.
on him. Chief of Staff Susie Wiles commenting and going there on a wide range of topics, it seems, with Vanity Fair in a new series of interviews, from the handling of the Epstein investigation to her assessment of the big names on Donald Trump's team. Let's get to CNN's Elena Treen, who is at the White House. There seems to be a lot in there, Elena. What is your big takeaway?
I mean, look, I've covered the president, and I've also covered Susie Wiles for years now, Kate, and this is one of the most candid interviews and stories that she's offered, interviews she's offered, really, from the entire time I've done that. This is incredibly candid, some of the things that she was admitting, because I will tell you, too, Wiles is someone who often likes to operate kind of in the shadows and quietly. She doesn't like to draw attention to herself, and that's why I think.
Hey, do me a favor, click the like button, y'all. Those that haven't clicked the like button, do that for me. It helps more people coming to the stream, y'all. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Some of what people are waking up and reading this morning is so stunning to hear about. But let me get into some of the main things that I found very notable from what Chris.
I mean, she ain't saying nothing but shit that everybody already knew, but for some reason they don't let the White House press corps ask. These are questions you cannot ask in the White House press corps. You cannot ask them at all. Don't ask no real questions.
Fair, detailed from their conversations. One is that Wiles referred to President Trump as someone having a, quote, alcoholic personality. She also talked a lot about the vice president, J.D. Vance, someone who I should note,
had this. He does. This man, they say all the time he doesn't drink. Yeah, but he's got an alcoholic personality. How he responds, and it's something not right with him, man. It's something not. Is he? Maybe it's pills. Maybe it's goddamn pills. I mean, maybe he takes too many damn pills. I mean, I don't know, but he sure seems very drowsy all the time or high as fuck. I mean, remember Trump 4 years ago? He used to seem like he was really, really like energetic at some points, right? I think Trump, they put emphasis on him not doing alcohol, but I don't think that's the drugs people should be asking about. You know, I believe he takes drugs and has been taking drugs a long time. Like something's not right with the guy, you know. But in any case, let's hear some
who
more.
worked with Vanity Fair, detailed from their conversations. One is that Wiles referred to President Trump as someone having a, quote, alcoholic personality. She also talked a lot about the vice president, J.D. Vance, someone who I should note, had this conversion that Whipple noted as well from never Trumper to a MAGA acolyte. Susie Wiles essentially said that change, that conversion has been, quote, sort of political. And she said the vice president has been a, quote, conspiracy theorist for a decade. She also talked about Russell Vought. He is the White House budget chief, but he's also, of course, one of the architects of that notorious Project 2025 conservative blueprint for the future Republican Party, something that Trump had previously, of course, disavowed. She argued that Vought is, quote, a right-wing absolute zealot. And then she also went into a number of different things. One, she talked about Pam Bondi, the attorney general, someone who was one of her closest friends, I should note, in this administration. She argued that Bondi, quote, completely whiffed the handling of the Epstein file. She also talked about how the president, who came in and offered a series of pardons to really roughly 1,000 people who were convicted for their crimes on January 6th, she essentially admitted that she had urged the president not to pardon those who had committed violent crimes on January 6th and on the Capitol attack. She also talked about how she disagreed with him sometimes when it came to tariffs, saying that she had urged him to delay some of the tariffs that he ultimately announced. And it goes on. There's a lot of other areas where she kind of talks about kind of disagreeing with him, but also ultimately her role is as a facilitator rather than, past White House chiefs that we've seen, notably people like John Kelly during the president's first administration, who at times tried to hold him back. She sees as her job trying to kind of shape what he does, but also not preventing him from doing what he wants to do. One very notable quote as well that stuck out to me, just given the context of what's very much in the news right now, is Venezuela. She admitted publicly that one of the goals of this administration and the president is actually to see regime change in Venezuela and oust Nicolas Maduro. I should note that is not.
So, how many of you all believe because this is the Americas now? Let's think about this. Venezuela. How can you have it both ways? Like right now, there's a large number of Venezuelan refugees all over the Americas, and some of them came to the United States of America too, right? But not only, but why do you think that is? Like, let me know. I mean, who knows why Venezuelans have been fleeing Venezuela for some years? And I mean, from my understanding, it's because of sanctions, and because of the regime, right? Poverty, things like this. Now, if you attack Venezuela, there's liable to be more people fleeing Venezuela in the millions now. And your neighbors, right? What do you expect to happen with those people? Where do you expect those people to go, right? Where do you expect those people to go to? Where do you want them to go? I'm curious. The people that support. Okay, I tell you what. Let me ask this: do you support regime change in Venezuela? Put a 1 in the chat if you support it. Regime change in Venezuela backed by the U.S. government. Put a 1 in the chat if you support it. Put a 2 in the chat if you don't, and then I'll go further from there. Put a 1 in the chat if you support it. Put a 2 in the chat if you don't. Okay, so MB, where do you expect the people to run to? Where do you expect the people to run to in a war? Phoenix. Where do you expect the people to run to in a war? from Venezuela? Where do you expect them to go? AZR3, where do you expect them to go? Where do you expect them to go? What countries do you expect them to flee to if there's a war with Venezuela? You know, I don't think too many of these people thought about that, right? You know, and that's the problem. A lot of MAGA people don't think in advance. They actually are their own problem. They create the problems they don't like, the MAGA people, right? So they don't want comprehensive immigration reform because they want immigration as an issue to complain about all the time. They don't want to do anything about it. And really running around on the street, going about it the way they're doing it, that's the long way. That's the hard way to do immigration. You know what I'm saying? Right? Because you could see they're pulling in American citizens into this shit. And on top of it, they're not passing any real law. There's nothing in that big, beautiful, ugly bill that actually did anything about immigration. So as soon as the next president comes in, because Congress hasn't done anything, it's going to be the same until Congress does something. So, anyway, yeah, I could see a lot of the people that support regime change in Venezuela. They don't really have a plan for where the people should go. They don't really have a plan. If you look in the chat, you could see they don't have a plan. Somebody said, I could care less about any other country other than, yeah, but do you want them to come to America, Glenn? Do you want them to come there? Is that where you want them to flee to? Because that's where they already fled to, you know, and other countries are not going to keep them. You know, if you're starting this war, they're going to let those people come to the U.S. They're going to let those people walk right through their countries because they don't want the people filling up in their country just because of your own president's policy. Not your own president, because of your policy, Glenn. You know, other countries are going to be like, fuck it, let them hang out at Glenn's house. I don't want them in my house. Let them go hang out on Glenn's block because Glenn is for the thing that creates the problem. You see what I'm saying? But in any case, let's hear some more. I mean, she's saying a lot, but you know, Trump ain't really going to listen.
Not what the White House line has been on this. The White House line has been that this is all about trying is Venezuela. She admitted.
Right. The U.S. ain't even trying to. I mean, Trump is not even trying to say it's a regime change. But now after this interview, now he's even closer to saying it's regime change. Now he started changing his language. Now he's like, yeah, well, you know, we used to do business with them and they took our land and we want it back. Aha, finally you said that. For weeks, it wasn't about nothing about that. Nope. It was about fentanyl. It was about cocaine, all of that stuff. Nothing about oil. This remind me of that Dave Chappelle episode where he was playing the Black Bush character. And when they asked him about oil, he was like, oil? What the hell? What the fuck are you talking about? We don't want no oil. And then got up and ran and shit. Like they on to us. I mean, everybody knows that's what it's about. It's about the oil, you know? And here's the thing, is your tax dollars. So your tax dollars are going to pay the U.S. military to attack Venezuela to seize some oil. But you won't get a penny of that oil. You won't see the gas prices get cheaper. None of that oil is going into your pockets. You're actually paying for the billionaires to get access to the oil, and they're going to sell it and make money off of it. And they're going to get a better check than you ever got in your life for a day's work. They're going to have health care, better health care than you'll ever get. You see what I mean? I mean, this is actually pathetic. I mean, if you're in the military, yo, man, what's worse than fighting a war for some billionaires that don't even give a fuck about you and your family? Like, what could be more pathetic than that? What could be more? I mean, this is not an ideological war. This is not about even, they're not even claiming to want to do it for the sake of democracy. They're not even saying Maduro's authoritarian. They're not even claiming that. They don't even care about that. It's just the oil. That's crazy. That is crazy. And on top of it, the opposition party, the woman came out and gave a speech like last week, and she's not for military intervention. And she already said It's because it's going to make Venezuelans flee. And she wants Venezuelans to come back home. You see? That's like, I'm going to see if I can find that clip. I'm not bullshitting you.
Publicly that one of the goals of this administration and the president is actually to see regime change in Venezuela and oust Nicolas Maduro. I should note that is not what the White House line has been on this. The White House line has been that this is all about trying to crack down on narco-terrorists and illegal drug trafficking. She essentially said this on Venezuela. She said, quote, "He wants to keep on blowing boats up until Maduro cries uncle. And people way smarter than me on that say that he will." Again, a major contradiction in what we've heard from the White House on all of this. And the last thing I just want to quickly point you to, there's a lot in this. I do encourage our audience to actually go and read these very lengthy and detailed articles from Vanity Fair. But she talked about retribution, and she said that she had some sort of agreement with the president that she didn't want him to be focused on score settling, that she was going to give him 90 days and then he kind of had to move on from it. But she also acknowledged that some of the recent indictments we've seen against some of the president's political foes, people like the former FBI Director James Comey or the New York Attorney General Letitia James, both people who we've seen this Trump administration now bring indictments against. She admitted that, yeah, that kind of is political. She said the Letitia James indictment specifically, she said that one you could call retribution. And so incredible stuff in here from Wiles, who, again, one of the most powerful people, if not the most powerful person in this White House, apart from Trump, being very, very candid in this interview, Kate.
A lot more to come. Elena Treen, thank you so much. Important that you're hearing publicly, really for the first time, someone as high up as Susie Wiles saying that the point is to get Maduro out, not just stop drug trafficking from the nation. This is an important development. It's good to see you. Thank you so much for jumping on.
You know, it's interesting. President Trump's White House Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles, I assume you've met her, you know her. She told Vanity Fair in a newly released interview that her boss, quote, we're talking about the president, quoting her, has an alcoholic's personality, governing with a, quote, view that there's nothing he can't do. President Trump famously does not drink, and Wiles herself grew up with an alcoholic father. Wiles is now calling this a hit piece. How do you respond to that long interview she gave to Vanity Fair?
I didn't see that clip. I saw some other ones about Ukraine that she said about the president. Again, I think it's helpful. If we come back and say, Mr. President, we disagree, he could have had a much better tariff policy if he would have come to the Congress. There's some tariffs I would have supported, but tariffs against 80 countries, for example.
And it's really hurting agriculture in Nebraska.
And so he would be better off if more people spoke up, gave him honest feedback, and it would stop him from doing some of the most the zany things out there that he does. And those comments on Mr. Reiner, they were just ugly. Terrible. And we're better than that. And okay, I expect it from some people, normally at a bar or something, but not the President of the United States, right? We expect better.
But how hard is it for a Republican to speak the truth, push back against Trump, and actually stay in office and not be primaried and not be...
Now, this is interesting because the opposition to Maduro, right? This woman, she won the election, by the way, but or this is what many people think, but who knows? But it appears that Maduro is not it wouldn't be, if you ask me, he's not the one you would think that would be having fair elections right now. But in any case, she actually describes Venezuela as being ruled already, like taken over already by Russia and Iran, right? So this is also another dynamic here. This goes along with the MAGA people saying they voted for Trump because of anti-war. They said they were tired of supporting wars. And when they say wars, they meant Israel and Ukraine, right? But now you could see that Trump hasn't really totally backed out of any of that. And on top of it, he's about to open up a new war, right, with Venezuela. But here's the funny thing. Isn't it interesting that it's the same actors? Isn't that interesting? Like, isn't it interesting that Russia is Putin has a lot at stake with, in terms of selling weapons to Maduro and getting oil, things like this, selling gas to them, right? This kind of thing, right? Isn't that interesting? Because Putin is basically behind a lot of different conflicts. He supported Hezbollah, he supported Hamas, he supported Iran. You see what I'm saying? Like, don't you find it a little fishy? Don't you find it a little fishy that Putin really hasn't said much, right? This is a warning to people that want to enter into that Putin or to this dynamic where they think that Putin is out there freeing people from colonization. No, I've always said Russia has a colonial history and it plays a role in neo-colonization. It's not just doing things just for the sake of other people. It's acting, it has explicit actions, and Russia really takes no responsibility for how people use their weapons. And they supply a lot of people with weapons in a lot of areas where there's war right now. That's been in the Congo, that's been in Sudan, that's been everywhere. And it's not only Russia, China also. A lot of times we tend to focus on what the U.S. is doing, but we lose insight on what other nations do and are doing right now, But in any case, let's hear a little bit more.
The subject of the MAGA machine online. And I mean,
well, I've had 4 primaries, and the last 2 times from the right, there was a lot of focus. I wasn't loyal enough to Trump. I would have probably not run again earlier because there's other things I want to do in life. But I wanted to prove a point in our district that the majority supports common sense, decency, Reagan conservatism. And so I stayed in an extra run or 2 just to prove.
And you know what? Here's another interesting thing. I didn't notice, but guess where the opposition leader is located right now to Maduro? Guess where she is? Anybody know where she is? Let me know if you know where she is, right? I just want to see in the chat. It's ironic because we already mentioned this country. She's in Norway. The opposition leader is in Norway. Norway is a country where everyone has access to health care. Everyone has access to higher education. And look at this. Trump, just think about this, how interconnected this world is. Just think about that. That's interesting. Now Trump, he claims, to have hostilities about the EU, right? They even talking about this culture war stuff, That's the real interesting part. Now, where does this fall into it? Like, is she she's from South America? Is she part of that culture war or not? And if she's not part of that culture war, then what's Trump's position on Venezuelan people being part of a culture war? Are they part of a culture war or are they not part of a culture war in America, in the United States of America? You see? So no matter how you put it, it's like it's this dynamic. I'm sorry to say, but it doesn't seem like it's designed to turn out well. It doesn't seem like it's designed to turn out well. It seems like it's more likely a lot of people are going to be killed. When you find bedfellows, you know what I mean? Because Trump is definitely not pro-democracy. You see what I mean? Anyway. Yeah, this is a crazy world we living in right now.
So what you want to call them, the far right or the Trump loyalists that he can do no wrong, that crowd. And I wanted to run just to prove a point that the majority want decency and more of a Reagan Republican ideology. And so I've done it, five times is enough.
You're ready.
I'm ready for doing something else.
All right. Well, thank you for all of your service, Congress.
Yeah. Somebody said, why don't we tell them what their income is? Who is this? Why don't you tell me what their income is? Oh, okay. You talking to me? Whoever asked that question. You talking about Norwegians' income? Well, it's typical. You should look it up yourself. If you think that American citizens have a better lifestyle than Norwegians, you're out of your mind. There's no data to support it. But in any case, let's
one of the hallmarks of President Trump's first term would be staff dissension and sometimes stunning comments made by staff, sometimes in interviews. Well, we've got that here for Trump 2.0 as well, because just this morning, just a short time ago, Vanity Fair released a stunning new series of interviews with Susie Wiles, President Trump's.
Somebody said Norwegians pay 55% income tax. Not all Norwegians. They have a progressive tax system, just like in Denmark. It's a progressive tax, so everybody doesn't pay the same tax, my friend. So you should, number one, acknowledge that. Don't go for the quickest response. Go for the one that has gives you the fullest meaning, right? You might want that when you're judging things, especially making comparisons to your own situation. But having said that, the pay wage is much higher too. And on top of it, right, the pay wage is much higher than in the US, okay? So per average person, right? Number two, everyone has health care, everyone has higher education, right? I mean, you might look at that data point to, even though that's not everybody. Here, let me look it up. 55%, you say. I know in Denmark it's progressive and everybody has health care, everybody has higher education, access, free higher education, paid. You get paid to go to university, technical school here in Denmark. And everybody's not paying 55%. I pay 39%, and I'm not even in the lowest. You see what I'm not, so, it's kind of like, yeah, but hold on. Let me look this up real quick. Let me see. Yeah, Americans, listen, I'm going to tell you this, Americans, do your due diligence. Don't play a game about this tax thing, comparing the tax system, comparing the wages from the U.S. to Europe. Don't cheat yourself. It's a very serious topic you need to take up now while you're voting for people. If you don't know this stuff, you're just going to keep repeating the same cycles. You're just going to keep repeating the same cycles. You see what I mean? So, look, base income tax. Let me just pull this up for people to see. And don't play games with this. Don't play games with this. This actually is not cool at all. And people, is that there? People should want to know. You should want to know. Is that this? Can I see it? Oh, okay. Hold on. Let me see something. Why is that not opening up? You should really want to know what it looks like. And okay, is this not working? That's interesting. Okay, this is here. Okay, that's there. Okay. So let me bring this back to this one now. Oh, y'all can't see this. All right. So I'm sorry. I might have to pull this back up. Let me see. Get this right. Is it this one? Boom. 2 seconds, y'all. Because this is important. I don't want to cheat y'all out of this conversation and out of this information, because I usually use Denmark as a comparison. But somebody brought up Norway, and that's fair enough. Let's look at Norway for a second. Let's see here. Now, boom, boom, boom. If I go like this, I make it smaller. Oh, that was the wrong one. It's about to be up on the screen. I just want you all to see. So you don't, it's so important that people do not play games with information. You should want your fellow American getting the correct information. You should want that. And don't for any reason do your fellow American that way by giving them false information. Don't do that. That's actually not cool. You're actually being problematic, right? So here, now let's look this up. Now, this is about Norway's tax system, right? Now, what does it say here? Just take a look. You tell me. Base income tax, all incomes, 22 tax on net taxable income. You see that? And just so you know, even though I pay 39% taxes in Denmark, I get like something, what is it, like $800 a month is no tax on it. You see what I'm saying? Don't forget that too.
Denmark is currently making headlines for a proposed expansion of its face veil ban, with the government
What is this?
plans to prohibit burqas and niqabs in schools and universities.
Oh, I'm sorry. Could y'all hear that? Now here, so look, 2025 income tax structure, right? Here's a clear breakdown of how Norway's progressive income tax works and how much people pay at different income levels. See? So, but I didn't know enough about Norway to know that you pay on different. It's not one. So the person who said you pay 55% tax, you were giving people disinformation. And you should want to know the facts. And what makes you cool is when you can spit out the facts. What makes you not cool is when you spread lies that affect people's lives, but also affects your own life. Affects your own life. You see what I mean? Like, don't be a fool to your own life. All right. How Norway's progressive tax income works. In Norway, personal income tax consists of two main parts. General income, that's like in Denmark, flat base rate on all taxable income, and then number two, progressive step tax, extra tax that increases as your income increases, right? On top of this, employees also pay Social Security contributions, right? Yeah, we do here also. So 2025 income tax structure, base income tax, all income 22% tax on net taxable income, ordinary income, okay? Progressive step tax is number two, applied on gross income above the thresholds. Now you see here, above these thresholds, so the bottom one is 0, right? The next to the bottom one is 1.7 more. So you see, you're still under. Look, do you know how much a person in Washington, D.C. pays, and a person in New York pays, a person in any major city pays in the U.S.? Do you know that? You know, in D.C., you with state and federal taxes combined, income taxes, all the taxes together, you pay 33% tax, basically, around there. This is lower. You see? So yeah, and this 200,000, this is like 60,000, you could say, something around there, 60,000 US dollars and above, maybe 60 to 70,000, right? Or 80,000 around there. And then this is higher than that. You see, it's 4%. Then when you get higher than that, when you get in the fourth tax group, that's when it becomes like 13, 16, and 17. But 17, when you couldn't, that's about it. That's, you got to make a whole lot of money. And then on top of that, healthcare and education is free. You see, actually, education is even paid for. You don't pay for that. Your kids don't pay for education in Norway. You see what I'm saying? They don't pay for taxes in in any case. But here we go. Employees typically pay 7.1 to 7 of gross income, right? So this is the third part. So you see, so you got here 0, then that would be 3, so that would be 25. This would be 26.7, right? This would be almost 30%. This is still less than DC, which is with all the taxes together. You see? So yeah. People just gotta do their own. I'm not saying you gotta always do your own research, but do a little bit. God damn it! Like, damn, do a little bit of research before you just go out there and like say shit like that. You know, like, anyway, let's get back to the main topic here, which is taxes. What you pay for in your taxes. This is what you pay for in the U.S.
Chief of Staff. In them, in a series of 11 interviews, Wiles gives candid answers about the president, his term so far, as well as many of those in and around his administration. Wiles told author Chris Whipple, quote, Trump has an alcoholic's personality. Wiles also says that J.D. Vance's conversion from never Trumper to MAGA acolyte has been, quote, sort of political. The vice president, she added, has been a conspiracy theorist for a decade.
So that's what your taxes pay for. I mean, conspiracy theorists. And now, let's be honest, a lot of J.D. Vance's conspiracies have already blown up in his face. Number one, the Epstein files have blown up in his face, right? Number two, the radical left pipe bomber blew up in him and Bambino's face, right? Bombandi, whatever the hell his name is, blew up in his face. The deputy director of the FBI, right? Cash Patel. I mean, it's like, but this is the problem. Not only is it blowing up in your face, in their face, but you are paying their salary while it blows up in their face. Like, that's bad. Because look, if they were not government officials getting paid a tax, I wouldn't give a fuck what conspiracy theory they think about, what they were right about, what they were wrong about. It wouldn't even fucking matter. Go ahead, you do you over there in the corner, motherfucker. Just stay out of my way. But no, that's not what's going on. They get a check before you do. You pay. When you take your ass to work tomorrow, if you lucky enough to even have a fucking job, or even if you own your business, when you take your ass to work tomorrow, you're paying these dumb motherfuckers. How dumb does that make you? Like, just think about that. I'm just saying. Just think about it.
Russell Vought, architect of the Notorious Project 2025 and the head of the Office of Management and Budget, is a, quote, right-wing absolute zealot. And when asked what she thought of Elon Musk reposting a tweet about public sector workers killing millions under Hitler, Stalin, and Mao, Wiles replied, I think that's when he's microdosing, referring to the drug ketamine. Wiles added she doesn't have.
He gets some of your tax dollars too. The ketamine freak gets your tax dollars. I mean, just think about this. If you were a meth head, a ketamine freak, a drug addict, crackhead, methamphetamine head, I wouldn't give a fuck. Because you wouldn't be getting my check. You know what I'm saying? You wouldn't be getting none of my tax dollars. I wouldn't be paying you. If I didn't have to pay you, I wouldn't care. I'd say go crawl up in your hole and smoke all the motherfucking, shoot all the ketamine you want. Go kill yourself. Stay out of, just as long as you stay out of my motherfucking way. But that's not what this is. They're directly in front of you saying every time you earn $1, they're saying, give me some of that shit. That's what's going on right now. A motherfucking ketamine freak. What the hell is her even job? What is this lady's job? The White House something, whatever the hell her job is. To organize, she organizes. She's supposed to be the one organizing everybody, right? For Trump, I forget even the title. What Susie Wiles' title is? What's Susie Wiles' title, y'all? Because she has a title, but the way they act is just makes it seem like, yeah, chief of staff. It almost makes it seem like she don't even have a title, yo. This is the fucking chief of staff saying this. This is the chief of staff talking about everybody in fucking Trump.
Right-wing absolute zealot. And when asked what she thought of...
She dropped a dime on all... Just think about this. The first chance she got, this is Vanity Fair, yo. They just gave her... Imagine the person that go into the police and is like, I ain't snitching. That man will never snitch. Trust me, that man will never snitch. And you see the motherfucker up in the office with a pizza in his hand, some donuts. She will snitch. She dropped a dime on their ass. Like, this is the worst as it could ever be. And look, this is how the brainwash shit works. They're going to act like this is normal. They're going to act like this is like just something that, don't worry about that. That's insignificant. None of that couldn't be real. No, what that means is you have a cartoon ass administration. You have a bunch of fakers. They don't know what the hell they're doing. And the only thing they're confident about is that they have some dumb people that still believe them at this point, which is way few. And these people, their time is coming.
In and around his administration. Wiles told the author, Chris Whipple, quote, Trump has an alcoholic's personality. Wiles also says that J.D. Vance's conversion from never Trumper to MAGA acolyte has been, quote, sort of political. The vice president, she added, has been a conspiracy theorist for a decade. Russell Vought, architect of the notorious Project 2025 and the head of the Office of Management and Budget.
Yeah. Has anybody got an Argentina stake yet? Let me know.
Is a, quote, right-wing absolute zealot. And when asked what she thought of Elon Musk reposting a tweet about public sector workers killing millions under Hitler, Stalin, and Mao, Wiles replied, I think that's when he's microdosing, referring to the drug ketamine. Wiles added she doesn't have firsthand knowledge of that. The chief of staff was also deeply critical of Attorney General Pam Bondi for her handling of the Epstein files. Wiles said this, I think she completely whiffed on appreciating that very targeted group that cared about this. Wiles continued, first she gave them binders full of nothingness, and then she said that the witness list or the client list was on her desk.
MAGA, you got binders full of nothingness. This is what the chief of staff's opinion is. I mean, how do you explain this? How do you explain it? And you're paying Pam Bondi with your tax dollars. Every second you go to work, a percentage of what you earn goes in Pam Bondi's pocket. Also the chief of staff's pocket. And look at what the chief of staff say about Pam Bondi. I mean, this is not good. No, this is not good. I mean, this got to be like a civil war or something going on. If you ask me, like maybe they're not reporting it like that. Maybe J.D. Vance and the people that are responding to this are not trying to make it seem like a civil war. But this is what you say when there's a civil war going on. This is not nice stuff. This is what you say. You may as well say, look, these people are incompetent. They never had the experience. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They fumble the ball at every step, that they turn. That's what this is saying. She's literally outing these people, and they sitting there acting like, nah, this is just normal everyday business in our administration.
The group that cared about this, Wiles continued. First, she gave them binders full of nothingness, and then she said that the witness list or the client list was on her desk. There is no client list, and it sure as hell wasn't on her desk.
That's Trump's chief of staff who said that. Was she correct when she said that? Put a 1 in this chat if she was correct. Put a 2 in the chat if she wasn't. Let me look at the chat right now. Tracy Marsh, was she correct when she said that? Let me rewind the statement. If she was correct, put a 1 in the chat. If she was incorrect, put a 2.
I think she completely whiffed on appreciating that very targeted group that cared about this. Wiles continued. First, she gave them binders full of nothingness.
Did she give them binders full of nothingness?
And then she said that the witness list or the client list was on her desk.
This part. Did she say the witness list or the client list was on her desk? Is she correct about that? Put a 1 in the chat if she's correct. Put a 2 in the chat if she's not correct. I'm just curious about that, Some people don't want to admit anything ever, you know what I'm saying? And that would be particularly the extreme MAGA people,
There is no client list, and it sure.
Then she said there is no client list. Is that correct? Did she really say that, or is it wrong, MAGA folk? Put a 2 in the chat if she's not speaking facts.
As hell wasn't on her desk. Whipple writes that he asked Wiles back in March.
So basically, she lied. That's what she's saying. She's saying Pam Bondi lied about the Epstein files.
And then she said that the witness list or the client list was on her desk. There is no client list, and it sure as hell wasn't on her desk.
Damn. So, again, tax dollars, MAGA, your tax dollars go to her to lie to you. And you guys like it. That's what gets me. You know, that's the part I don't get. You know, everybody knows, Democrats know, everyone else, independent, we all know that our tax dollars go to this lying ass lady. But we don't like it. At least we're intelligent enough to not like it. MAGA people, they fucking still like this shit. Like, they like being lied to, like, openly in their face. Like, that's the part I have to say, damn, you know, no. Y'all way different. Like, you can't be trusted. You can't be trusted. And on top of that, you shouldn't even be in the same rooms with people. Like, y'all need help if you really allow someone to treat you like this. I mean, it's bad. It's bad.
Whipple writes that he asked Wiles back in March if she ever went to President Trump and told him that this term is not supposed to be a retribution tour. Yes, I do, she'd replied. We have a loose agreement that the score settling will end before the first 90 days are over. Whipple asked Wiles.
Shit, how is it that somebody said that Bill Clinton was on the island 28 times? Not according to Trump. Not according to Pam Bondi. Not according to Kash Patel, it ain't. You never heard Kash Patel say that. You never heard Pam Bondi say that. Where'd you get your information from? You didn't get it from Trump. You didn't get it from Pam Bondi. You didn't get it from Kash Patel. You didn't get it from Bambino, or whatever his name is.
Again in late August, far beyond those 90 days. Wiles responds this way, quote, I don't think he's on a retribution tour, she said. A governing principle for him is, I don't want what happened to me to happen to somebody else. And so people that have done bad things need to get out of the government. In some cases, it may look like retribution. And there may be an element of that from time to time. Who would blame him? Not me. When Whipple pressed Wiles about accusing New York Attorney General Letitia James of mortgage fraud, Trump did that, Wiles responded this way, well, that might be the one retribution. And when asked if she's called out the president on that, Wiles said, no, not on her, not on her. She had $500 million of his money. Wiles went on to laugh. Peter.
Well, you know, was it his money? That's not his money. That's taxpayers' money. You know, when you defraud the taxpayers, you got to pay fines, right? I mean, isn't that what that's about? You know, I don't get that part. You know, it seems like a lot of people have been made to kind of cap and go along with this idea that it's okay for the rich to steal money, to break the law, while those same people demand of the poor the last shirt off of their back. You know, they demand from the poor the last penny they have. You know, like that's not cool. That's not cool. And again, I would say that a lot of other countries, in terms of patriotism, they show their patriotism by how they treat the middle class and poor are treated, their own citizens, their own countrymen and women, how they're treated when they're middle class and poor. Like, if you don't think that the middle class and poor of your own country deserve a fair chance, you can't call yourself a patriot. You know, like, that's my view of it.
Mr. Baker, we're sort of breathless. We're all kind of dizzy from reading this morning. You got an early look at the Vanity Fair piece and wrote about it for The Times, which has been ricocheting across social media in the last hour or so. There's so many things to dive into here, including Wiles, like, putting the cards on the table in terms of Venezuela and what they're trying to do there, saying that indeed Trump is simply trying to pressure, with these boat attacks, trying to pressure Maduro to step down. Talk about that and other things that really jumped out to you.
Yeah, she said this is all about getting Maduro to cry uncle. And she also said that if Trump goes for land strikes, which he's been talking about lately, that he would have to go to Congress for authorization. That's a really interesting concession, because I haven't heard.
What do y'all feel about that? Should Trump have to go to Congress for authorization for land strikes? Put a 1 in the chat if you believe Trump has to go to Congress to make land strikes on Venezuela first, like as in get permission from Congress. Put a 2 in the chat if you don't think he needs to do that. I'm just curious. I believe he does. I'm like, I don't even think this is the way to go about it. Dealing with Maduro, to be honest, like, or just other Americans, like people in the Americas. Like, I'm not with all of this, thing. I'm with, well, but then again, there can be some problematic relations, but I believe, why not go to Congress? That's the people. I mean, it's your money. Again, everybody to put a 1 in the chat or put a 2. It's your money. It's literally your money. And for him to not seek your permission for your money is like ceding power. It's like, he's supposed to be doing what we tell him to do. That's what the president is for. This is a democracy, and that's how democracy works. That's the whole point of it being a democracy. Like, the kind of education system we want is supposed to be dictated by us, the citizen. The type of conduct we want from our military is supposed to be dictated by us. The type of conduct we want from our president, from our Supreme Court, it's supposed to be dictated by the people. That's the whole point in it being a democracy, and the rules right now state that he's supposed to go to Congress. Like, to wage war, you have to go to Congress, right? And that was decided by the people. And if you want to change that, then you have to go back to Congress to change it. That's the Constitution. And I would say, if you don't like the Constitution, get the fuck out of the U.S. Then, go move to goddamn Russia. Move your ass to move your ass to Venezuela. Basically that's what I would say, but let the people who know what democracy, the value of democracy is, let us have our goddamn country we grew up in, at least,
White House say up until now that they needed Congress for anything when it comes to this undeclared war on Venezuela and drug smuggling and so on. So that's an important point. It's a fascinating series of interviews. She obviously came to relax in her conversations with Chris Whipple. Chris wrote the book on White House chiefs of staff, and therefore I think she looked at these conversations as part of setting the history of her time as chief of staff. In some ways, she's been the most successful of Trump's chief of staff, one that he actually seems to trust. She doesn't view her job like John Kelly did. John Kelly viewed his job as somebody who threw his body in front of the train as it headed down to places that he thought were reckless or unwise or illegal. That's not how Susie Wiles looks at her job. She looks at her job as facilitating the Trump's agenda, the things he wants to do, even if she thinks he's gone too far. And she talks in the article about times when she urged him to do things he didn't, like not to pardon all of the most violent January 6th rioters, to wait on tariffs until there was agreement on his team, and so on and so forth. But she says, hey, when there's a tie, he wins.
Yeah. Okay. So, I heard somebody say they'd rather be a maggot than a Democrat. Okay. Well, here's the thing. Let me ask you a question. Whoever said that, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, do you believe you should have access to health care? Do you believe the Republican Party and Donald Trump is right about health care? Or do you believe they're wrong? I mean, you can believe your party is wrong about one thing. You don't have to agree with 100% verbatim of what they agree with. I mean, I don't think most Democrats do that. But Tracy Marsh, do you believe Republicans are right about health care? Do you believe they're doing the right thing right now? Because they're in session. They've been called to be in session to deal with this healthcare thing, and it's only like one more day. I think tomorrow's the last day. If they don't do it by tomorrow, it's done. It's a wrap. Till next year, they're going out of session. So I'm just curious what Tracy believes about that, since she said she would rather be a MAGA supporter than a Democrat, So in any case, because I don't think it's about your party. I think it's about the issues, And for me, I tell people all the time, I'm a Democrat. I'm registered a Democrat too, but that doesn't mean I don't vote on the issues. I vote on the issues. There's nothing illegal about being registered to as a Democrat and voting for a Republican if you want. You can be registered as a Democrat and vote for an independent. There's nothing illegal about that, But I tend to vote Democrat because, again, I'm very big on health care. I live outside of the U.S. as an American citizen, and my kids have health care. I have health care. My kids have access to higher education. They get paid to go to school. You know what I'm saying? I don't see why my fellow Americans shouldn't have that. That's not a whole lot. That's not saying you don't have to get a job. That's not saying you shouldn't go to work. That's just saying those things are there so you can improve yourself and contribute to society. You see what I mean? So, I've seen living outside of the U.S. how it can be done, how it's a fact, and how the legacy media lies about it, and how Republicans lie about it. You see what I mean? And how some Democrats don't even support it, that should. You see what I mean? So it's my obligation to say that, even though there's some Democrats that do agree with universal health care and public education, like the Bernie Sanders types, the AOCs and others. But if enough Americans don't believe that they at least deserve that, then you ain't going to get it. You're just going to keep paying the same taxes, and get less and less and less every time around, But yeah, let me see something here. This is the big story right here. This lady blew up the spot. The chief of staff blew up the spot. I think that's going to be a pivotal. I don't think Trump can move past this. Then you got this thing with the healthcare. I think come tomorrow, let me just look this up. Come tomorrow, if these Republicans don't capitulate and support this goddamn, if Mike Johnson doesn't bring a vote to extend the tax credits on the healthcare, it's going to be a wrap for this administration. When is the last day the House of the USA Congress is in session? And to some degree, I hope they fucking don't, because I know Americans going to be so goddamn pissed that it will be over for Trump. But damn, that would be so cruel to expect people to have to live with that for 10 months, for 10 months. For more than 10 months? That's not cool. That's not cool. Let me see here. What's the day that they're supposed to be out? They should have already concluded. So that means whatever they're doing now is over date. It's over the line, right? Yeah. So I think it's really tomorrow, to be honest with you. I think they extended it till tomorrow. And let me see here. Insurance is cheap if you're smart. Okay, how much do you, Brian Blackburn, who's your health provider and what state do you live in? Brian is going to give everybody in the chat some tips on cheap insurance. So Brian, let us know what state you're in and what health care provider you have. So let's see here. I never heard that one before, but okay, it's cheap. Okay, Brian, looking forward to your he said you could get a policy for less than $100 a month. Okay, Brian, what state? Again, I'm going to ask the question. What state do you live in, Brian? Who is your health care provider? That's just the question, buddy. All right. I don't want, people need clear answers. Let's see here. There's a group above the political group. It's the boys in Davos, Switzerland. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. I'm just saying, if you don't know what state you live in and you don't know what healthcare provider you got, but you telling people it's cheap to get, it's like, okay, if you say so, there you have it then. It must be cheaper. You still got to, Come on, can't you still know? Even if your employee give it to you, don't you still know? Can't you name it? Like, how the hell are you going to have a healthcare provider you can't name? Nah, it don't work that way. Even if it's your employer, you know what I'm saying? He says, Texas moron, you know how to read. No, you didn't say that before. And now I know how to read, but who is your healthcare provider? What's the name? Don't be, rude about it. Just educate people, brother. It's your opportunity. You said you could get it cheap. It's your opportunity to tell people, the company is New Era. Okay, let's look up New Era right now. And it's in, let's see. New Era Healthcare Providers. Let me look it up. Let's see what it is. Boop, boop, boop. Might. Mm-hmm. New Era Healthcare Medical and Home Care Provider. What it is, healthcare organization that provides. And okay, so let's get down to it. How much does it cost? Let's get real. I heard the word cheap get used. So let's see. Maybe it's something for everybody out there. Damn, what does it say? Let me see here. No published standard prices on their website. They do not list fixed out-of-pocket prices for services like checkups or visits. Instead, they emphasize that they accept most major health insurance plans, including Medicare, Medicaid, TRICARE. This is starting to sound fishy because your Medicaid and your Medicare is about to go up. United, okay, in any case, Cigna, Humana, okay, let's see here. Because it's primary care delivered in your home, the actual cost for you personally will depend on your insurance coverage, whether you have a deductible, copays, whether the provider is in a network, all of which affect how you pay. If you have insurance like Medicare or a private plan that covers in-home primary care, your cost could be low. Okay. To me, this sounds like you need Medicare, right? Home and health, home care, not the same as New Era Healthcare primary care. New Era Home Health Care Solutions, Round Rock, Texas area, $19 to $30 an hour. Okay, that's different. That's for home care. Okay. Yeah. Well, in any case, folks can look it up if they think that's a good system. Go look that one up. New Era, y'all. Go look up New Era. Look, somebody he just said the idiot knows nothing about health. No, I don't know. I don't live in the U.S. I'm an American. I live outside of the U.S. I have universal health care, so it's not a private healthcare company. You see, so there you have it. But Philadelphia, all I did was say how much, man. You don't know how to answer how much. Let people can research it themselves. But how much do you pay a month, and what do you get? How about that? Maybe that's a better question, Brian. Yeah. I know. I've never heard anybody say that the shit was cheap. Brian said it's cheap. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just curious I want people to hear from Brian. Like Brian can tell them. Let people know what you get for the cheap price, bro. Don't be stingy. Don't hold back on people. Like share, man. Sharing is caring, bro. Like let's do this. Okay, but in any case, yeah. I'm gonna be out, yo. I hope I'll be back tomorrow for a longer live. I just wanted to check in because I didn't go live yesterday, and shit has just been dropping and going and moving fast, right? But in any case, I appreciate your time as always. I really appreciate the support too. I didn't see Bits today and Tia, so if you guys hear the stream later, what's up to y'all? Also, I appreciate you. But I do appreciate everybody else that came out in the live, in the chat, in the listeners. I appreciate that a lot. I got a lot of new subscribers the last couple of months or something like. I think I've been getting like something like 1,000, close to 1,000 subscribers because I haven't really been active. You know what I mean? I haven't been active. I just got active again, and but it's been a pretty good time. A lot of new subscribers. Most of the subscribers are in the U.S. 60% are out of the U.S., right? And then the rest are different places around the world. So I appreciate everybody from outside the U.S. also. And I hope people think it's a good conversation that we're having. Now, don't get me wrong. The choices you have are the choices you have. I have different choices, right? So I talk about the choices I have. I talk about the perspective, that I can share on. And then I like to compare that to what's going on in the U.S. because I'm an American citizen. And I do know that our media tends to not share a lot about what's going on outside of the U.S. that's good with American citizens. You know what I mean? And, so that's why I do it. And I see how it affects the votes. I see how it affects American citizens, how we think about things. I mean, and a lot of the lies that are put out there, it's really dangerous times right now. So these are the times for us to share with each other, communicate, and to, let our own government, because I am an American citizen. I don't have another. I'm not like Elon Musk. I don't have 2 and 3 citizenships. I have one. I'm an American citizen. I just happen to live outside of the U.S. So I do vote for who the president is. I do vote in the local elections in D.C. also, for those of you that don't know what a dual resident is, right? But that's the law. That's how it works these days. But I really am glad to link with a lot of people and to be a part of a good conversation that's happening, and it's serious times, and we're going to continue the conversation. It's not over. I empathize with my fellow Americans and what people are going through. And if you one of the people that think everything is all right, well, then I'm not talking to you. Okay? If you think everything is all right, I don't need you here, because I'm here to talk to the people that don't think everything is all right. That's my point. And the people that want some information that they may not have. Okay? I'm not here to talk to the people that already know that and know everything and don't need to be. I'm not here to talk to you. Okay? I'm here to talk to the people that I believe are reasonable, that know insurance is fucking high, that know the cost of goods are high and are worried about their life, that know things are not that great. You see what I mean? That know people are getting shafted. You see what I'm saying? For their tax dollars. You know what I'm saying? I'm here to talk to those people. And so on that note, I appreciate everybody. Just do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. It means a lot, especially in this YouTube algorithm. And and we're going to continue the conversation. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back a couple of times tomorrow. That's the good thing about tomorrow, because I'm off. So I'm going to catch you. But let me see here. I'm going to be on the late night stroll tomorrow, and then I will be following up on them in like 6 hours after. Let me get in the chat and see. Eric says, "Why is everything so expensive in the land of competition?" Yeah. I thought capitalism brought prices down, right? Isn't that what it does? Open free and trade market, but it's not open free and trade. It's monopolies, and they gouging people, brother, and they calling it capitalism, but it's not that. They bullshitting people, And one reason why they bullshitting, because the U.S. motherfucking military is one of the biggest socialist projects on earth. I mean, goddamn, that's 100 paid 100% by the taxpayers, 100%. They seem to think it's a good, right? Okay, well then, why can't you organize education or healthcare like that if it's so good? But they don't want to. They don't want to shed light on that one. They want to, spook people to what public projects can do. They want to spookify it so you don't smarten up and say, yeah, that's right, this is my country. Yeah, that's right, these are my taxes. Yeah, that's right, we the ones paying for this government. Yeah, that's right, we're the ones doing this. It's like they trying to gaslight people. So, but on that note, I'm out. I appreciate everybody. I'm going to catch up with y'all in the next 24. So be good, all right? Appreciate it. One. Release the Epstein files. Impeach Trump. Impeach some of them Supreme Court judges. You know what I'm saying? Impeach some of these, all his goddamn cabinet. It's his cabinet and admins. All of them got to go, yo. One. I appreciate y'all.
They want war. Crime babies looking for food. Starvation, the recipe. People subdued. When the people you trust got it in for you. Deceit is the word of the day in every crew. Don't let it go. It's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets with the people in the slums and the homeless bums with degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man, the one that brought you to reality. See, they don't want you to know about the black sheep. Leaving 7 roads to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say a death old? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct, and I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink, but I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on the call and up and we on the break. All Congress gonna do is waste paper and ink. Vote or die. You voted and you'll die. You can have it both ways, can't say it's a lie. You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand war, it's the same old song. They want war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. War. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. Like a lotus coming out of the mud with colors, I create envy in those with power but jealous. I unify the poor with my song, the hell with the others. Descended the way they treat indigenous brothers, cause I understand we link forever. They try to hate us even though that we keep it together. I'm not talking about controlling the air or the weather. I'm talking about maintaining the truth, the high endeavor. A rebel drops bombs in the midst of trouble. The free world counterattack and now there's double. But nature gets the shit in a way to settle. If you stop the machines for a minute you might hear, but they won't cause the TVs whisper in the ear. And capitalism has eyes that don't tear, and they cloud up and get crazy and won't steer. And like an ab, it's hard to get an ass to listen. Living like this is like living in prison. It's hard to keep hope when you're living in prison. The spiritual thoughts, so yes, the mental prison. The outside, yes, it's got to get through. Something's gotta die, so something here can live. Your life is nothing if you got nothing to give. Keeping the spiritual, yes, disguised as religion. Controlling your mind, the mental prison. They want war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. War. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war.
money bustin', but I just back away real cool, no fussin'. I'd rather go kicking in the streets with the bums and use the knowledge to collect what? Some funds. Open a non-profit and build a damn school. And this is the story of how a great king rules. There's many that claim to know the local demographic, but don't have the nerve to tell you the truth. It's tragic, but I do. So sit back and let me spit this shit to you. You feel better when I spit this shit to you. Despite the system trying to clamp down on the people will learn how to stand up to evil. Not evil that's across the globe, that's too far. But evil lies in their own backyard. And fighting, it's not an option, they can't win. The government, it's not supposed to represent sin. But then again they do, and that's a problem. So let's go down and figure out how to solve them. It's not fun being a